Hello, my name is Jim Roberts. I'm the host this evening for a brand new program we're kicking off. It's called Senior Living in Alexandria. We're excited about this show. What we want to do is present a monthly program that will give information not just to seniors in Alexandria, but also to families, to friends, to those who are concerned about their loved ones. And our goal is to try to help them be aware of services and help that might be available through the Alexandria community. And we have as our guest a special person, Mary Lee Anderson is the Acting Executive Director of Senior Services of Alexandria. She's going to tell us about what programs they have. Mary Lee, is pleased that you're here this evening. I'm so glad you can join us. And why don't you give us a little bit of background, how you wound up at Senior Services and what led you to working with Senior Services and your position, please.
Well, I'll give you the short version of the story. I started working at SSA about 2.5 years ago. The executive director at the time, Janet Barnett, talked me into coming and setting up a database of information about what resources were available to seniors in the city. And then, as so often happens in nonprofits, once they get you involved a little bit, you get more and more involved every day. And particularly for an organization like Senior Services, where we have such a terrific mission and such a group of people that really need your assistance and appreciate the help that we can give them, it's been a wonderful place to work. So from setting up a database of information, then we started to figure out ways we could be more proactive about getting information out, all the way to having a TV program where we are tonight. We started a speaker series, a monthly speaker series that kicks off every October with Senior Law Day. And then every month thereafter, we bring in panels of experts to provide information about different topics of interest to seniors and their loved ones. And we have kicked off quite a number of new programs. Each of the libraries in Alexandria and 4 of the major rec centers now have senior information corners. And seniors can, and their families and caregivers can go into any of those libraries or rec centers and pick up information that we've compiled from our speaker series presenters and other places in my travels of brochures and flyers that we think will be of interest to them. So we try to get the information out to the public, and rather than hoping that they find us on the internet or in the phone book.
You've got a lot of programs. Let me go back a second though. What in your particular background, do you have training or experience in terms of working with seniors, or is it passion that you like seniors, or they like you in particular?
It's developed over the years. I think it initially came out of my personal experience. My mother-in-law moved up to live here in Virginia after retiring to Florida. And she came up, and as so often happens, as the daughter-in-law, I became her primary caregiver. Helped her find a place, a retirement community, and then took care of her finances, and gradually over the years found out more and more the hard way about what services are available for seniors and what's important to them. Then my mother became ill, and I found myself in a similar role. And just learning by experience, I realized that there was a real need for people to find out, rather than having to discover what you need and what's available in a crisis mode. It's much better if you're aware of it in advance and can really plan. So that's how I started, was from personal experience.
Sounds like I'm hearing 2 things. One is a background and experience so that you're knowledgeable about the array of programs, but I'm also hearing personal experience, commitment, family need, a strong personal component. Are both of those part of your interest and background?
And when my children got a little older, I had done a lot of volunteer work at their school and was in the board of directors there and managing their development efforts and that type of thing. As they got older, I decided, well, I really would like to focus my effort on helping seniors, and I started doing that through my own business, initially helping them with daily money management needs, helping them pay their bills and get things ready for tax time, and that's how I came to meet Janet at Senior Services and kind of slipped in through that experience.
How long have you been with Senior Services?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, okay, good.
Yep.
One of the, as I understand it, one of the premier programs you have, probably the original program, was Meals on Wheels. Tell me about that. Who does that serve? How does it work? What's that type of experience? What would volunteers do?
Oh my gosh, volunteers are the backbone of the Meals on Wheels program in Alexandria and in most of the country. Senior Services is responsible for the distribution of the Meals on Wheels, and we do that through a cadre of over 250 volunteers in the City of Alexandria every day of the week, 365 days a year. And those volunteers, usually there's 2 people on each route. We have about 7 routes in the city, and we have a driver and a runner. And they deliver the meals and talk briefly with the seniors, but of course they've got to get on to the next place.
Right.
And that's kind of how we came to realize that there might be a need for a more personal contact with the seniors, and we'll be talking more about that friendly visitor program later on.
Good.
But Meals on Wheels is a big part of what we do at Senior Services. The other service that we provide under contract with the City of Alexandria is the Department of Transportation paratransit service, and we handle reservations for the disabled in Alexandria for a taxi service that is provided at a subsidized rate through a federal government program.
How does that work?
Well, if you are qualified as disabled, medically disabled,
Right.
you can call our office and we will arrange for a taxi to be dispatched to your point of origination and take you anywhere you want to go in the City of Alexandria, Fairfax County, or Arlington County at a vastly reduced rate over what you would pay regularly.
Say you have to go to the grocery store, a medical appointment.
Doesn't matter.
Do they
Wherever you need
wait
to
for
go.
you, or do you have to call again?
No,
or?
you typically will have 2 rides. You'll have the pickup, and then generally they'll indicate if they know what time they want to be, taken back home again.
How do seniors make themselves, if they're interested in that service, how do they make themselves known as, you mentioned being a qualified disabled?
They have to,
how do they
have to apply to the program through the city's transportation department, and there's forms that they have to have filled out by their physicians to certify that they're qualified
and
for
that
it.
list is supplied to you as a qualified person,
Exactly.
and you can provide the service.
Exactly.
What's the extent of that? How many people take advantage of that?
Oh gosh, we have thousands of rides every year. It's a hugely utilized service in the City of Alexandria.
Do you think it's well known? I mean, that's a large number of people, but do you think most elderly are able to learn both about that and I guess I'll go back and ask the question, how does Meals on Wheels, how do you identify those people in need?
The clients, most of the clients are referred by the City of Alexandria's Division of Aging and Adult Services. And if the senior is qualified by them through their social worker programs as homebound, then they receive Meals on Wheels through the City of Alexandria. If, on the other hand, they may have a short-term disability, they've just had knee surgery, or they have a chronic medical condition that doesn't preclude them entirely from leaving home but makes it a struggle for them to do their grocery shopping and get meals, they can get Meals on Wheels through us on a self-pay basis at $10 a day.
You had mentioned your seminar series. What kinds of topics have you had in the past, and what kinds of information do you want to provide through that?
Well, we start off every October with Senior Law Day, and we do that in conjunction with the Alexandria Bar Association. Then after that, each month we choose a different topic, sometimes in partnership with someone like the Inova Alexandria Hospital. We always do an event with them. It might be on nutrition for seniors, getting them to exercise, things like that. Just, we take surveys of all of our attendees to ask them what they're interested in, and then try and build the program around their interest. We also do programs at different locations throughout the city. So sometimes we're at the Central Library on Duke Street. Other times we'll be at a church facility like Westminster Presbyterian or Bethel Hebrew. We've also done events at Chinkapin Rec Center, and we're going to be back at Chinkapin after it reopens in the spring.
These are comprehensive programs. There's a number of them. They're well served. What unmet needs are there? Or are there populations that you would like to reach that you're not able to reach, people that might be unaware of your services? Maybe the families of seniors, for example. Are there, where are there some needs or unmet needs, or if you had a magic wand and wanted to perfect this, how would you do that?
Oh, well, certainly we want to get the word out more effectively. We try to make sure that our various programs get a lot of attention in the local press. One of my colleagues, Mary Ann Beatty, goes, and issues press releases about our events and the different needs for our volunteers as well as for people who need the service. So I think if I had a magic wand, what I would like to be able to do, it'd be great to expand Meals on Wheels to a broader population. Again, we just started to scratch the surface with that by offering self-pay to clients who are not homebound. A year ago, that was the only client base that we could have.
Is the limit on that the number of volunteers, financial resources, meals, nutrition? What's the limit?
Well, it's financial resources, certainly, because there's the cost of meals and there's also the cost of administration. You know, when I talk to people about Meals on Wheels, people think that somehow it magically just happens and don't realize that when you're serving a vulnerable population like seniors, it changes every day. So the people that manage that program for us every day have to create changes to each route based on someone being in the hospital or someone not feeling well, being out of town. It's a massive undertaking just to administer it.
Assuming I would like to volunteer to deliver meals for Meals on Wheels, what would I expect? What would my time, how much time, what do you expect from a volunteer and what do they do precisely?
Each day that you volunteer, you can estimate anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's all it takes. You pick up the meals at a central location in the city. They're in 2 cooler bags. And then you get a route guide that shows you exactly how to get to these usually 7 to 10 locations that you need to go to, as well as access information on how to get into buildings that require codes, that sort of thing. And then you and your runner will go out and deliver the meals.
Okay. And so about an hour and a half time commitment?
An hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the route.
And is it unusual to do it 7 days a week?
Well, most of our volunteers volunteer maybe once a month, once a quarter.
Okay.
We have a couple of really diehard volunteers that volunteer more than once a week.
Good.
But for the most part, it's very flexible since it is 7 days a week. Those people that work can help out on Saturdays or Sundays. We even have adjusted our delivery times on Sundays to be a little bit later in the day so that people that attend church can still go to their services and then do Meals on Wheels afterwards.
And one meal serves a number of times? Okay.
We serve 2 meals a day, a cold bag, like a bag lunch, and then a warm Stouffer's kind of lean cuisine sort of thing.
Great. Well, those are comprehensive and valuable programs. We're going to go to a break right now. Sit tight, and we're going to come back, and I understand you've got an exciting new program you want to be able to tell us about. So we'll look forward to that after we come back.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. I'm here with Mitch Opalski today with a presentation by Senior Services of Alexandria. Mitch, today why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization, please.
Good morning, Jim. My name is Mitch Opalski and I'm the owner and the CEO of Synergy Home Care here in Northern Virginia. We're a national home care company on a franchise model, and I own the local office here. And we've been in business for 6 years providing care for people in the home, wherever they call home, and generally it's to the senior population, the older adults who want to remain living independently at home and age in place, as they call it.
You made a presentation as part of the package of this series from Senior Services. What programs or services do you offer seniors in Alexandria?
We do a lot of things in the home to help people stay independent, and we like to say we're the last stop before assisted living, if you will. So there's 3 basic types of services we provide. We are the non-medical model, so we don't provide skilled services in the home like things that nurses and doctors do. But we have home care aides and certified nursing assistants that help with activities of daily living. That's the hands-on care that involves bathing, dressing, grooming, eating and drinking, and ambulation, safety and moving about in the home. And then the aides, while they're in the home, can provide also at the same time a lot of homemaker services, and these are essential. Everything from meal preparation to light housekeeping, laundry. If there's stairs in the home and then washing machines in the basement, that's key to staying in the home, someone to help out with those household chores. And then the lowest level of service we provide, we call companion care, and that's really just spending time with our client. It could be for supervision purposes. We do a lot of memory care, people with dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And it could be just for quality of life issues, spending time doing social activities, going out to lunch, shopping, things of that nature. And all this is done on an hourly basis, convenient to the time frames that the client needs.
How do you go about, how do clients find you, or how do you go about finding clients?
Well, we have a very robust website, synergyhomecare.com. It's no simpler than that. And then, of course, they can call us at our main number, 703-558-3435. And the interesting thing is we answer the phone 24 hours a day.
That's very
You
good.
might think, well, what does that matter? But people have emergencies at all times of the day and on the weekends where they need our kind of help, or the hospital's sending someone home and they've got to have our kind of care in place. So we're really available at all times for our clients.
How in particular have you worked with Senior Services over the past years?
Oh, and on a personal level, I sit on the board currently of Senior Services.
Good.
I'm very involved in the community and trying to give back. But Senior Services has a function called the Resource Center, where people in the community call in and say, I need help with this, I need a plumber, I need a good roofer, I need home care services. And they maintain a list of vendors that they have vetted and that they feel comfortable recommending the community citizens to. And so Synergy Home Care is on that list because we've proved to Senior Services that we can be trusted and we provide quality service and we're responsive.
Good. Sounds like a good relationship. Can you tell the audience again, name, organization, how they can get a hold of you, please?
Sure. Synergy Home Care, and our website is synergyhomecare.com, and our phone number is 703-558-3435.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
being here. We're back. This is, as I mentioned at the top of the show, this is the first program in a monthly series of programs for seniors in Alexandria. This is Senior Living in Alexandria, and we're pleased this evening to feature Senior Services of Alexandria. We're joined in our conversation with Sarah Drexler. She's got a brand new program she wants to tell us about called Friendly Visitors. Welcome, Sarah. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And
Thank
glad
you.
to
It's
hear
good to be here.
some additional news. Tell me a little bit about Friendly Visitors. What is it? How does it work? Where did it come from? And well, give me a little background. How did you get to be working with seniors? How did you come to this kind of profession or this kind of
Sure.
care for people?
I was fortunate to have grandparents in my life when I was growing up, so they were a big inspiration to me. I also worked as a nursing home administrator for several years when I was living in California. Most recently, I worked for a home health care company that provided skilled services to Medicare beneficiaries, so the senior population basically. I have known Mary Lee for several years, and Mary Lee approached me about working on this special project called the Friendly Visitor Program. And through many months of task force meetings and things like that, it finally came about last November when we had our first volunteer senior matches.
You were present at the beginning. Good, with that background. Well, tell us, what is Friendly Visitors?
Friendly Visitors is a program where we match volunteers with socially isolated seniors that live in the City of Alexandria. Many of these seniors don't have any family and friends that live locally, so they really don't have that social outlet where they have someone come and visit just to chat and to check in on them and maybe play cards with them. And that's really the gist of the Friendly Visitor Program.
Had it been active in Alexandria before, or was this the first time it was ever attempted?
It actually used to be managed by the Red Cross.
Oh, I see.
But the Red Cross discontinued it about 5 years ago, and then Senior Services under Mary Lee picked it up last summer when we started doing the planning for it.
So you've been involved from the onset, including in the planning stages.
Yes, exactly.
So how does it work? How do you identify the elderly, and how do you recruit volunteers, and how does that work? How does it work?
Well, we initially envisioned this program as really benefiting seniors that lived in their homes. But when we first started, we had some volunteers that had signed up, and so we took the program to the living facilities within the City of Alexandria. So assisted living facilities, independent living facilities, and some skilled nursing facilities. The seniors were identified by social workers that worked in their buildings, or activity directors that also worked in the buildings. And then my role was really to go and make an introduction, actually to introduce the program to the seniors that were referred, and then go back and see if I had a volunteer that would actually fit with the senior in terms of personality, experiences, interests, that sort of thing. The volunteer aspect actually is a little more difficult. Right now we have more seniors than we have volunteers,
okay.
so recruiting volunteers is an ongoing process. Luckily, we had a mailing that AARP did for us when we initially started the program, and the mailing went to 5,000 AARP members within the City of Alexandria, and we had approximately 30 volunteers that came from that mailing, so that was wonderful. A lot of the volunteers have seen the local press local articles that we've had in the Gazette, Alexandria Gazette packet. Some have found us online through the website. Some have been referred by friends, and so it we have a whole lots of different ways that we end up with our volunteers.
Is training available for the volunteers?
Yes.
I mean, these are people that maybe they're not familiar with, and in terms of privacy and in terms of time commitment, et cetera, or emergencies, do you teach the volunteers what to do in those situations?
Absolutely. We have a 1-hour training session that the volunteers are required to go through. The training session talks a lot about how to connect and build rapport with a senior. Some of our volunteers really haven't had the experience of working with a senior population. We also talk about medical conditions that they might encounter with their senior, maybe strokes, diabetes, heart conditions, and also depression and other mental health issues that they might experience when they're visiting, or might observe when they're visiting their senior. And then we also have a confidentiality statement that they sign saying that,
That's a good idea.
indicating that they understand that any information, be it financial, family, health, would not be shared with anyone else, that they would keep that private. And then we also have a piece that talks about kind of what to do when, in the event that they are visiting their senior and they have a medical emergency. We just felt that it was good to give them the tools to actually know what senior services, what the policies would be through senior services.
What are the time considerations? How many times? Once a week, twice a week? Is that flexible? Is it rigid? How do you figure out the time that's spent between the volunteer and the senior?
We're asking the volunteers to commit 1 visit per week, but that does have some flexibility in it. We didn't want to make it really rigid because a lot of our volunteers work. Some of the seniors also go to bed early, maybe sleep in late, that sort of thing. So we try and accommodate schedules. So on the initial visit, when I'm introducing a volunteer to a senior, I make the appointment and I bring the volunteer to the senior. And the first goal of that meeting is really for them just to get to know each other a little bit. The second primary goal is to set a time when they can come back. So they talk about, when do you have lunch? Are evenings good, mornings good, that sort of thing. And then a time of day and time during the day is established, and then the volunteer will come back. We have some friendly visitors that will go and visit their senior and be there for 2.5 to 3 hours. And they have a set day that they go every week. We have some volunteers who kind of need a more fluid arrangement, so they go at different days during the week and at different times, but all of those have to be, within the seniors' expectations, that they understand when they're coming and when to expect them.
Mary Lee, I'll ask you this, or both of you. How was the program originated and how is it funded?
Well, it's all funded by private donations. We had our board approve the program last September based on pledges that we had received from donors who were very excited about the program being reintroduced to Alexandria. And that's how we were able to bring Sarah on board and get it off and running to such a great extent.
Okay. And you mentioned that you have more seniors in need than you do volunteers.
Right now we have 40 senior volunteer matches, which is really exciting considering we just started last November.
Oh, that's terrific.
But I do have 10 seniors that are waiting for volunteers to visit them. So we are actively recruiting volunteers.
I hope maybe somebody listening
I
to this
hope
program
so.
will,
We would love to
will pay
have
attention
them.
to that. You need, that's great. If you gave an estimate of how many seniors might need this, welcome this kind of service, is there tens or hundreds, or what's your best guess?
We have a very lofty goal, and it's really hard to put a number on it because I'm amazed just in the short time that we've been doing this, the interest and the number of referrals that I get. Some of the people that are referred come from the Department of Aging, the Division of Aging and Adult Services within the City of Alexandria. That population, I think there's a great need for volunteers and another set of eyes. So it's hard to really put a number on it, but.
That's exciting, and I hope that people, this is a brand new program, but sounds like you've made huge progress. Well, we're coming down toward the end, and thank you. But I wanted to ask Mary Lee, while you've got the chance in this kickoff session for senior living in Alexandria, what are some of the upcoming events people can look forward to?
Well, we have coming up in October, on October 9th, our Oktoberfest, which is at the Port City Brewery Company, and that's a fundraiser for us. And then on October 19th, we have Senior Law Day, which is the kickoff for the Speaker Series program, and you can go to our website and find out how to register for those events, and we hope to get lots of people coming and more volunteers.
I think that's, we've had our kickoff session, and you've learned a lot. There, as we say, tune in monthly. We want to bring this information, but I want to really thank the two of you for the valuable work you're doing and the programs that you provide, and helping the seniors in Alexandria, making it a better community for all of us. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.